This is Infection, the survival podcast recorded live on Tuesday, July 6th, 2021, episode 338. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to another episode of Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. Great to have you alongside on a Tuesday, Monday for lots of folks, myself included, coming off of a busy 4th of July weekend. Hopefully you enjoyed that, a little Independence Day celebration across the United States. Again, my name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on social media, various platforms. Just go to nickcraig.com for all of those. And then, of course, our website, infectionpodcast.com. Joining me, as he does each and every week, from the great state of Idaho, Brian,
yes,
with an I Aldrich. Hello, Mr. Brian. How are you?
I am doing well, and sorry for my voice. I think I got it. I don't know. Do you think dehydration does this? Because I got really dehydrated over the weekend.
Well, so
and my
I was
throat's
very,
been just like
I was very dehydrated as well, and I get paid to talk for a living. Well, I was dehydrated. My voice was all shoddy, so I guzzled down like three glasses of or 3 cups of hot tea last night before bed.
I might have to do that.
I was just going straight black tea, one after the other. I was like, I can't. If I wake up in the morning and I'm like, 6 o'clock, dude, 3 hours, I would be, by the end of the show, I would sound like that lady from the chocolate lady from SpongeBob. Chocolate, I always hated it. No, I'd sound like that. I just wouldn't work. I got fired.
Well, that's pretty much how I woke up this morning. Like, we talked in the pre-show a little bit about some events that happened over the weekend, which caused me to be in heat for long periods of time with very little water. And it's just like, I woke up this morning and my throat's like, oh. Yeah, my mom called me. She's like, your voice is low. I'm like, hey, maybe I should be in the radio now. I mean, it's my new calling, right?
Mom, my balls finally dropped. Finally going through puberty.
It only took 41 years, Mom, but hey, I finally made it.
Finally doing it. I no longer sound like a prepubescent boy. Congratulations. All
right, let's get my contact info out of the way. If you want to get me at Brian Aldridge on Gab and Parler, of course, you can go check out my blog, biteoftech.com. But most importantly, if you go to our website, infectionpodcast.com, just look on the right-hand side, join our server on Discord. There is a news channel. It's really helpful when people go, if they find a really interesting news story or something that they think is relevant for the show, just go put a link to it in the news channel, and then we review that before every single show. So it's a really good way to get some of your content into the podcast. Also, we have the Steam group, which I put a notice out there. I don't know if it's popped up yet, but you'll get a notice at some point when we're doing the show. And also we have our video forms of the podcast, which are Twitch, YouTube, BitChute, and DLive. And a lot of those we do live stream, and then also have recordings after the fact. So you have to check out those, whichever you prefer. We have audio only forms of the podcast at the lower right for whatever platform, device, anything. There's a lot of options there. And then also our podcast extras for some of our pre and post shows that were recorded and uploaded by Judd. Also, if you are listening to those podcast episodes, you can just follow along while you listen on the particular episode page. So this will be episode 338, and click on there. There'll be a video window that you can watch it on there, or there's an audio player built into the page, and then links for each of the topics that we discussed that week. And it's a good way to, maybe you missed a video, or you wanted to share a particular topic with somebody. You could go and get the link off that page. If you want to support us, you can go to infectionpodcast.com/support, or you can go to humble.infectionpodcast.com, amazon.infectionpodcast.com. We have Subscribestar. We have our Prime Gaming subs. There's lots of ways to support the show, and that's we're really grateful for that. And since we talked about it the last couple of weeks, but since we're not having PAX, when we go back, it's going to be epic. So it'll be fun.
Yes. Speaking of that, I mentioned last week that we would discuss our potential trip to Las Vegas. We did do that. Labor Day weekend we are passing on. It is just way too expensive. We will have all of the final plans squared away this week. But for people, I know I got a couple messages on Discord. We are looking at September 16th through the 19th. That is,
and personally, I think that's the date range that works for us.
So that's a Thursday and then leaving on a Sunday. So for most people, 2 days off work.
The week before, it wouldn't work for us. That week didn't really work just because it's not a good week to be traveling. So that's perfect. If
that's what we're thinking. We can get. It seems like flights are relatively cheap, at least. I looked at like Labor Day weekend. The flights were like $700, which I wasn't doing. So that's what we're looking at. Brian and I will convene on that this week, and we'll get something booked in the next week. But those are the dates, 16th through the 19th of September. We'll have more details on that coming up, but that's what we're thinking as of right now in terms of dates. So a Thursday through a Sunday seeming to make the most sense. So pretty much 3 days or so in Vegas.
Cool. I think that'll be great.
Yep. So that's what we're looking at.
And then one thing for people that are out of the country, that's one reason we really look forward to those PAX events and things that where people can actually travel into. This time it'll be most likely just people from the United States, but hopefully in the future we'll be able to get some of the other people out here again.
Yes, sir. Let's start off the show, Brian, with something that is new as of today. Nintendo. I told you not to buy a freaking Nintendo Switch, and I was right. Announced today, coming out in October 8th to be exact, Nintendo is releasing a new Nintendo Switch that has an OLED screen, larger than the standard Nintendo Switch. It actually will cost $50 more. It's got still a 720p screen, which I don't think really matters for a screen size that small.
At that size, I mean, you're going to struggle to see a difference between 1080 and 720. I mean, the detail will be so minute that you wouldn't pick it up.
Yeah. But the unfortunate part is that it's still 1080p on the TV. I know a lot of people were hoping that this would do 4K. I presume it's the same internals since they didn't change anything resolution-wise. It's just a bigger, brighter screen. That's just a different technology.
It should be usually a little bit brighter. I mean, it might be a little crisper.
It'll be a little bit brighter. It'll be less susceptible to glare. It won't get washed out. Like if you're playing it outside.
The black, one thing to talk about, the black levels are a lot better.
They are.
Just it'll look better, because especially that's the issue with these switches is when you're out in a more bright environment. On these screens, it's kind of difficult to see them, and I think that's a lot of the push for something like this. Is it's supposed to be a portable device that you can play out anywhere, but if when there's sun out, it's so difficult to see it, it's not worth playing. Then that's not really a useful machine. So I think that this makes it much more useful if you travel with it, if you go out of the house with it. Some people play it only in the house. That's one reason why I got just the lights, because they were much cheaper. I knew that most likely something better was going to be coming out.
Oh, you got the lights?
Switch.
Oh, never mind. Then
because I just wanted
I
wanted something temporary, and I figured at some point, the boys can play on those Switch lights. We'll get something upgraded when it comes out, but I wanted something now, and I knew that the lights were cheap enough to where it's like, okay, give those to the boys, and I've been getting games for them already, to put on there.
Yeah. So then never mind. I thought you bought the regular Nintendo Switch.
No, so I didn't put out, because I knew that those were older devices. It just wasn't worth it getting the full on Switch, and I'm not hooking it to a TV right now, so. I didn't really need that feature. So
pretty much, other than that, same device, just a little bit larger, and that OLED technology.
Yeah, it's a 7-inch screen. It's versus the Lite has a 5.5 and the Switch has a 6.2 inch screen. So
a little bit of a larger screen. That is out October 8th. For $350, that's $50 more than the regular Nintendo Switch, which MSRP is for $300. So nothing else on that, but there's a trailer. I don't really think we necessarily need to watch it. It's not anything.
I mean, it pretty much just shows. I mean, unless you want to show them what it looks like, because it is a little bit different size wise. Okay, that would be the main difference.
All right, well then let's watch a minute or two of this trailer then. So I mean, it pretty much looks exactly the same. It's just a little bit larger.
Yeah, a little bit bigger.
Without comparison, you can't really tell with it in somebody's hand. It's hard to tell. But yeah, that's the new Switch. So that'll be out here in the next couple months.
There you go. There you can see it against the body. I mean, it is bigger, definitely than the Lite, and a bit bigger than the regular.
So yeah, expect that out. If one of those things, if you can get one, I'm sure like everything else, it will be impossible to buy, but it'll be out just before the holiday buying season. So keep an eye out for that. Okay.
All right. Hey, let's talk about Humble Bundle here for a minute. Remember when there was a big uproar about them putting caps on the sliders for donations?
Yes.
Because they had implemented it without really telling anybody, and then all of a sudden there was a cap, where you can only donate so much, and then with all the feedback that they got, they reversed that. Well, now they've taken a few months, and they are going to be re-implementing that. So mid-July, and so this is in a week or so, we'll be rolling out a new iteration of sliders that creates even more opportunities to support important causes. While splits on each bundle will vary, on average, there will be a minimum amount for Humble Bundle between 15 to 30%. Sliders will clearly indicate any minimums to customers, and flexibility to adjust donations will be available in every purchase of a bundle. This comes after 10 years of having the option to lower Humble's percentage to 0. So it used to be you could make it so the Humble Bundle got nothing. Just to be honest, what you could have done is buy something or get one of those bundles, slid the Infection Podcast one up to 100%, and they would have accepted that. So the 100% of the donation went to Infection Podcast. Now that I didn't really think that was great. I think they should have put a limit on that, because you could totally take advantage of that. Get free keys and donate to yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It didn't make sense to me that they did that, but I don't know that I want them having a 15 to 30% or pretty much a 15% minimum.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I mean, here's the thing.
But they can raise that to 30%. They choose between 15 and 30%. Well, I mean, they're matching kind of the Steam, that 30% magic number that they all seem to like to have.
Well, I think so there's a couple things that come into this. First, you've got to deal with credit card processing fees, which Humble Bundle has to eat. So if you give $0 to Humble Bundle, it costs them money. It actually is costing them money to give you the games. Plus, I don't know if they're paying for the games. I don't know how exactly Humble Bundle. I don't know what their business model is. I'm fine with this. Honestly, it was a terrible idea from the start to allow.
Well, I think that the studios are donating the keys to Humble Bundle, and then donations come back to them based on those sliders. So it's like they're just giving the key, because I don't think legally they could get away with selling the keys to Humble Bundle or whatever, because then it would be a raffle, right? It wouldn't be the same. They have to give these keys to them, and then this place is distributing them based on a donation basis. And so I think that the minimums, I am totally fine as long as you keep them within reason. I've never gone in and put our slider up all the way to the top, even though we could have. I don't know that I've ever put Humble Bundle's percentage to 0 even, but I think they should have at least put like a 5% minimum, enough to cover the credit card fees, as you said. Because it makes no sense. If they had done that, this wouldn't have come out along so soon. I bet if they would at least put to where it covered their costs, they probably would have let this slide a little bit longer. But because they've been letting it go to 0, enough people have probably taken advantage of it. I have a feeling that this is now something that's due.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Humble Bundle. Humble Bundle's kind of. They've kind of fallen off the radar. I mean, was it IGN that bought them?
I
don't know who bought them, but
I thought it was IGN who purchased them. And
there's one gaming bundle available right now. That's it. One gaming bundle. That's it. So I think, and again, this runs into the issue: how many times can you give there's a certain pool of games that are even available for Humble Bundle. How many times can you give those games away? And I think that's what they're running into right now. There's just nothing else to give away. They went balls to the wall. Now for so many years.
They've been spreading that. The thing is, they've been spreading to other things. They're selling books and graphics for. I mean, I think that they're finding that it's very difficult to keep in this gaming world because of all the drama and whatever else with license. Things change a lot. I think they found that they can just sell books and all these things and still make money. And, and then once in a while throw in games, because that's what they're supposed to be doing. But right now they got all these book bundles. They got 1, 2, 3 book bundles minimum that I see right on the front page. It's just, that's where they're going. There's very few games, mostly books. And they comics. Okay, so I'm going to read them off to you. They have books, comics, books, comics, books. There's software, 3 softwares, and then 1 games bundle, which is the Epic Game Store bundle.
Yeah, which sucks.
I mean, it's got World War Z on there,
Roller Coaster
Tycoon. Yeah,
it's not a great bundle.
So, I mean, that's it.
I mean, it's not bad for $15 you get World War Z and Roller Coaster Tycoon, but it's not a great.
But I mean, if that's the only bundle for a game they're offering at the moment, that's not the best thing. So
yeah, I think they're probably not on the way out, but they are not breaking in. I'm sure what they were. So
yeah, and PH is pretty much backing up what I said. There hasn't the bundles have really taken a dive since IGN took over.
But again, I don't think it's got anything to do with IGN taking over, Brian. I think it's again,
oversaturation.
How many games can you give away? They were at one point they had 7 or 8 bundles running at a time with all of these games, and it was just like eventually you run out of stuff to give away for nothing. I mean, there's just not that many new games being made.
And PH is also pointing something I was just getting ready to say. Half of these games now have been given away on the Epic Game Store. So they're getting second dibs, and they're trying to resell the same game over and over. I mean, I've bought so many Humble Bundles for giving away and everything. There are so many repeats now because they kind of get down to these last sets of people that continue to give out their game over and over again. It's just, if you want free games, and probably the Game Pass doesn't help either. I mean, a bunch of these games come out free. There's so many games on the Game Pass. People aren't constantly searching for games all the time as much as they used to. So I don't know. I think it's going to continue to kind of go downhill until they change something, or they may just kind of get out of games and just be a bundle, generic bundle place, not a game giveaway or game bundle place.
Yeah. So we'll wait and see that. Again, if you would like to jump on our Humble Bundle, you can visit our website, infectionpodcast.com/support. This is quite the headline out of Microsoft, Brian. An engineer was able to, again, this a literal inside job. An engineer at Microsoft had access to a test payment system that allowed an Xbox engineer to steal over $10 million worth of Xbox gift cards and convert them into Bitcoin. So he was able to steal these cards, generate these cards essentially free, and then sell those cards, because obviously the cards aren't cash, but convert the cards to Bitcoin, sell them on some sort of marketplace, and convert those to Bitcoin. Well, of course, he was caught after Microsoft realized this. He got away with it for over 2 years. He was then sentenced to 9 years in prison and will have to pay restitution of upwards of $8.3 million to Microsoft.
So hopefully he saved a few of those Bitcoins.
I'm sure he didn't. If I were him, I would have spent it all, because you're going to get caught eventually.
The thing is, I don't think he's ever going to pay it back, because
he doesn't have the money to ever pay it back.
Well, but the thing, he's going to be deported back to his home country of Ukraine.
Yeah.
You think after he gets back there, he's going to be sending checks to the United States for Microsoft?
Well, he's not going to have any money. I mean, he's going to be in prison for 9 years.
Well, I wonder if they won't let him leave the country. I mean, how are they going to hold him accountable for $8.3 million if they let him leave the country?
They're not going to hold him accountable because he doesn't have it. This guy could work every day for the rest of his life, and he'll make a couple $100,000. Now being a felon that has committed not wire fraud, but a financial fraud.
Kind of the equivalent, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty tough one. Microsoft noted this after noticing a sharp spike in gift card transaction, which federal agents eventually raiding his home in July of 2019. He tried to argue that the mass theft was simply an experiment to increase store spending. Obviously, that didn't work out. So now he's in jail. Microsoft really didn't lose any money, let's be honest. I mean, you're talking about generating virtual gift cards.
But what are they turning around and buying with those gift cards?
Xbox.
They're buying. If they're buying physical products, they're losing money.
Well, they can't be buying physical products. It's Xbox gift cards. I don't know
Well,
how
so
you
they're
can
buying
buy.
like games and
Yeah,
things like
presumably.
that with it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, Microsoft is still losing some money, but it's not like he sucked $10 million out of
It
Microsoft
was an
bank
actual,
account.
it wasn't an actual $10 million missing from their bank account.
We're not sure and it doesn't actually say how many gift cards he stole.
Yeah,
because there's not really a way to do that. And again, a fluctuation in Bitcoin over the past couple of years, who knows how much it actually was. So yeah, that's that. Interesting story. Nevertheless, a literal inside job. Pretty interesting.
yeah, and I'm sure, as I said, not a penny's going to be seen by Microsoft, unless who knows? Maybe he'll get a prison job and they'll send
not
out
even with that. I mean,
cents a day or an hour.
I don't know if it's a TV show or movies. I think it's a TV show. I mean, typically, if you get charged with something like this, you serve your time and then you get out and go back into society. Part of your paycheck is automatically taken out and sent to Microsoft, and obviously,
that's what I'm wondering though. Will they
live.
let him go back to the Ukraine if he doesn't have that $8.3 million?
Yes.
Because if they deport him, then they have no way of getting those funds.
Well, I don't know what the U.S. is. I'm sure the U.S. feds have got some sort of. I'm sure we practically control the Ukrainian government. So who knows what might happen with that? But the Microsoft is not going. Microsoft be lucky to get a couple $100,000 out of this guy. So that is that. Don't commit inside fraud, folks. You will get caught. It never works out.
Yeah. Never in your favor. All right, so
especially with such an egregious amount, too. $10 million, dude. Why don't you bank $500,000 and call it? If you're going to commit the crime.
Why not do $1,000 a month, just a little extra cash?
Not even $1,000 a month.
Trickle it.
Take out $500,000, put it into some sort. Invest $500,000 into smart stocks. You're good to go. They would never have caught $500,000, but eventually they caught
the radar.
Yeah. They caught,
well, because he did so many at a time, it spiked their numbers. I mean, if he could have looked, if he was smart, he would have looked at the numbers. How can we make it look like a slight uptick? What's a slight uptick? And then just keep trailing that slight so it just keeps kind of gradually going up. Yep. Because they would have never noticed that.
Criminals always get too greedy.
Yep.
So
10 million was enough. So
obviously,
another company has made an announcement that they've been some things have been happening, weird things that you hear here and there. But Atari is now saying they want to make premium PC games again. And I haven't heard. There's a console that they've been releasing. I think they just recently released. That's an Atari console, kind of a unique thing. It has a lot of the old games in it and some other things. You can upload games to it. But now they're moving away from this kind of mobile free-to-play model that they have been on, because they've been putting some random games on mobile and things like that. But it sounds like they're going to be trying to get back to actual, making bigger games that are more modern. And what they're doing is they're splitting the company into two divisions. So they're going to have Atari Gaming and then Atari Blockchain.
Oh,
so I'm assuming the blockchain has something to do with the gaming. I mean, because that's upcoming in gaming. This whole blockchain for keeping track of objects, trading objects, and things like that. But who knows? They also said that they plan to build Atari hotels.
What?
That's what they're saying. So there's a plan to build Atari hotels. And then there's that Atari VCS, which you're showing on the screen right now, which is kind of a Linux-based console, mini PC type of thing. So it's got 100 classic arcade games and console games and everything else. It's pretty cool, but they're so all over the place. Like, they don't have a clear, here's what this is. I mean, they got blockchain, hotels, that VCS console. Now they're going to make PC games.
Yeah, I'm not really sure exactly what all is going on with that. That's pretty odd.
Yeah, so I mean, there's just a lot of weird stuff out of Atari. So keep your eye out. I haven't really run into anybody who actually has purchased the Atari VCS.
I don't think it's out.
So I think they just released it.
Oh, okay. No, you're right. It released June 15th. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is something that's been out here, coming up on a month here in a week. But I don't know where they're going. I mean, maybe making games for them will be a better model. then all
I
these
don't
other
think
things.
so.
Who's going to buy their console? Well,
Nobody's
I guess
gonna
they
buy
could
their
release the
console.
games on their console.
Yeah, but again, you're looking at Atari owns a bunch of IP, but all their IP is stuff that people do not want to play, and people are not going to pay significant amounts of money to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, if they're going to spin up a brand new dev studio, fine. But I mean, what are they going to do? Re-release the ET game for the Atari 2600 on PC?
They'll make it good this time.
Yeah, with ray tracing. I mean, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
It's like so.
Well, and when Melmo makes a point, he says, it's not the original Atari, but these are all being they're using
games,
the name of Atari. Yeah, they're using the name of Atari, and they're pretty much somebody's.
It's an emulator.
These titles and releasing it under. Yeah, they're releasing it under their name.
Yeah,
under the Atari brand. So I mean, it is Atari, but it's just it's a weird thing. I've been actually tracking that console, and it's just there's nothing in it that really is enticing me. Other than it looks interesting. It's something to talk about. Pretty much
because it looks like an old Atari. But I mean, you can essentially replicate this with a Raspberry Pi, or there's various other Nook-like computers that you can pretty much emulate what this is. Featuring 100 classic arcade and console games. It's
most of those are free to play.
Well, they're not. I mean, not even that. You can find all of these ROMs online, and these emulators are so.
And there's even online emulators. You can play them in a browser window and play all of these games without even having any hardware.
Wayback Machine has got a bunch of them on there that you.
Oh yeah, they got a bunch on there as well.
HTML5 base. It's pretty cool. So interesting. I don't mean if they can make a good piece, if they can make good games, fine. But if they're just going to re-release I mean, at this point, some of these Atari games are 40 years old. I mean, you're talking about games from the 80s, right?
What they need to do is remaster stuff. I mean, if they have licenses to all these IPs, remaster the games to something modern so that with people have the nostalgia, but make it modern. I mean, that seems like that'd be a better business model than releasing these 40-year-old games almost, right? And weird hardware and all these other. They're not making people think more highly of Atari.
I'm just looking at what they own. It's actually not a lot. They own the Roller Coaster Tycoon IP, and a lot of these are old. Canyon Bomber they own, Jet Fighter. I mean, these are just a couple, but none of these are like amazing. Pong, of course, but that's it. It's not.
The thing
they
is,
don't own as much IP as I thought.
But they have some brands that are really highly known that could make
Centipede.
Some kind of. Yeah, I mean, they could re-release and do. I know that they've been putting out other versions of Centipede and things like that.
But what are you going to do with this, Brian? I mean, how are you going to remaster this and make this a premium PC game? I mean, what is going to be? What are you going to do with this? Turn it into 3D? I mean, come on.
Yeah, have it to where you're looking from the bottom, and how
much are you going to spend on that? How much are you going to spend on that? I wouldn't spend more than $5 on it.
But I'm saying if you have a console, release it on the phone. Start releasing these things on the phone. The newer models, like re-release them because these are phone games. Most of them are not widescreen. You could squeeze those things into an up-down model, even a left-right model, depending on the game, and you could make it to where those games, the modern versions of them, are being sold, and people will pay $3 for that game or $5 for that game or whatever, something in that region.
Melmo's got a hell of an idea. VR. Now that's the way to go. You're standing in an old arcade and you're playing these games.
And you're like virtually shooting the things coming at you, or or even a joystick. So you're controlling the joystick.
You're literally sitting at the.
That's what I'm saying. And you got the joysticks in your hand, and you're controlling. Yeah, I mean, and then you walk around and you can pick any game you want. Like that would be the way to do it.
Yeah,
but they're not going to do that. I mean, if they're talking about making hotels and all this other stuff, that's not the direction they're going.
Them and Sega are very similar in their ineptness when it comes to stuff like this. They have just failed to do. They have
so many IP, so much stuff they could do stuff with, but they don't. Or they do weird stuff with it. I mean, they release a movie. They make
Atari's
odd mobile games.
Atari's a French company. Sega's a Japanese company, I think. Or China. No, I think they're a Japanese company. But yeah. So,
I think they are.
All right. Well, I guess we'll keep an eye out for Atari.
Yeah. All right, and then one other thing I wanted to mention: Sony, they have acquired a PC port developer called Nix's Studio. One thing, they sounds like what Sony's doing is getting ready to release a lot of these previously Sony only, console only games, and they're preparing them for the PC releases. So this could be, the rebooted Tomb Raider trilogy, Deus Ex. There's a lot of things that have been on PlayStation that sounds like they're going to be released. Maybe Ratchet and Clank. It'd be interesting to see if they kind of seeing what Microsoft's doing, getting less attached to that hardware market, which it's so difficult to buy one. They can't be making as much money as they possibly could since the consoles seem to be trickling out. Yeah. They got to get away from that hardware, especially if we continue to have all these shortages. It's been nonstop shortages for computer hardware components. It's smart to get away from that. So it sounds like they're all pushing to get their games off of having to be on the console because most people aren't getting the new consoles. And what are they going to do? They're going to move on to whatever they can get, or at least get it to where they can buy their games still, so they keep a decent library. Because right now, who's going out and buying a bunch of console games or PlayStation games, at least, because most of the people are playing on the console that they've had for the past 5-10 years, or almost 7 years.
Yes, sir.
So we will see.
Let's talk about GTA for a minute. I think we actually talked about this a couple of weeks ago. There were some reports and some different things out that GTA 6 would be out sometime in 2023. This was just based off of general internet. An
insider says,
stuff like that. And it was, I was even having a conversation with a friend over the weekend. We were out in, I don't know what we were talking about, video games or something. And he was like, "Oh, GTA 6 coming out in 2023. And I was like, "Oh yeah. Yeah. Looking forward to it." I don't know what we were, a song at a bar was, one of the GTA radio songs. So we were talking about GTA 5 and how much fun that was. But according to Jason Schreier, who is kind of a jackass, but he can be right every once in a while. Apparently, this 2023 idea is not accurate, and it's looking like more like 2025 than it is 2023. So you're looking at another 4 to 5 years until we potentially have this game, which at that point, Brian, honestly, you're now 6 years or 5, well, depending on what year it actually comes out and when, you'd be 5 or 6 years into the current generation consoles lifespans. Grand Theft Auto does not, Rockstar does not have a good track record of releasing games on PC at the same time. So you're going to be, the nice thing about GTA 5 is it came out before the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. So when it dropped for the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 on launch, it was, set up perfectly for brand new hardware and everything was good. But at this point, you'd be looking at kind of the middle to the end of the new generation's console lifespan before this game even hits the market. So that could be problematic in some different ways. So as of right now, we still have nothing official. But it's looking like 2023 is not necessarily accurate. It's likely going to be 2024 or 2025.
Well, and this leaker, he said a number of things. He also said that supposedly the world is going to be evolving like Fortnite does. So the map's not always going to stay the same. Because right now, you release
for
the map.
GTA Online, that would be a very smart idea.
Oh, yeah. Because, you can have it to where construction happens, buildings go up. Have it to be where they don't have to release a new game. Just keep modernizing it and have it being a growing, flowing game. And, they could get it to where for online things, people pay subscriptions or have season passes for... They sell all the shark cards and all this other stuff. There's plenty of things that they could do to kind of make it to where it's kind of like what Microsoft has supposedly done with the operating system. Quit having it to where, all right, here's GTA 5. Have one version, because since they want to have online being an ongoing thing, have it keep growing and keeping modern. Have a modern version of GTA that's online to where they can have other things they do. But I don't want them to get rid of having the big releases like this. I like having the new games.
What I'm gonna put a link in the show notes for people. There is a great YouTube video by a guy named Nick930, Brian, he did a 2 hour and 17-minute video called The History of Grand Theft Auto. I watched it over a couple of days, a couple of weeks ago. Very interesting to watch. Really cool, really cool story. Stories, really well done. Lots of good backstory. Video came out a couple months ago. Really, really well done. So if you're a GTA fan and maybe looking to scratch that GTA itch, highly recommend watching this video. If you want to search for it on YouTube, it's called The History of Grand Theft Auto by Nick930. It is a very, very good video. So you'll want to check that out.
Cool. I want to make one note. So I played my first game with ray tracing on the Xbox. I mean, you can tell a slight difference. I think she was playing Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty Cold War. And turned ray tracing on. I mean,
wait, your wife was playing?
She was playing Call of Duty. Yeah. Well, I was playing on the one that on the one.
Hold on a second. You've been playing Call of Duty and you haven't told me?
Well, right before we left for vacation, she played. She's been started to play it. She enjoyed it, so we'll have to play some.
So I'm gonna hit your wife up for that battle.net tag. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm saying.
Oh yeah. So she'll be playing. She's been having fun with it. She usually gets anxiety playing that kind of a fast pace, but I think once she got into it, she started realizing it's not that bad. You die a lot.
Good time playing last night. I was getting ready to go to bed at like 8:30, and I jumped on Discord, and I was like, oh boy, a couple of people playing Call of Duty. I was like, all right, we'll do this. Always a good time. Some yelling, some profanity in the lobby, getting called some names in the lobby. Good times. Well, love me some Call of Duty.
Well, we'll try to play a little bit earlier. I think the problem is when we start playing, it's really late for you.
Oh, I'll never end up playing with you during the week. Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe on the weekend or Saturday or something when we're earlier in the day, we can jump on. We'll get some games in.
Yeah, I'm in bed by like 9:30, so it's just not
9:30 your time,
yes.
which is 7:30 my time. And I'm just getting done with dinner.
Yeah, exactly. So that's GTA 6, just kind of in a holding pattern at this point. Brian, ARK has got some news.
Oh yeah,
what is going on?
All right, so ARK has this is their annual Summer Bash, and they're doing their 2021. They always have some interesting skins and things. I think a lot of these things are only active, some of these skins are only on and things like that during ARK, or during the event for ARK, this one. So let's go and play the video really quick. I don't remember if they've ever had these before, because there's some pretty cool things in here that I just don't remember seeing.
They've had a couple of the things, yeah.
But I think there's one that people notice right away. I don't remember. I think it's new this year.
All right, well, we'll see. I think I know what you're talking about, and I think you're wrong, so we'll see. Yeah. Let's watch this video.
Maybe people correct us, but I don't remember seeing this one.
All right, we'll watch the quick video, and we'll be back. All right, not really showing a whole lot there. What do you think is the new thing?
I thought it was that costume.
Oh, that costume is new. I thought you were going to say the Super Soaker, because that was it. That's been in
No, the Super Soaker was there before.
That's what
I don't remember seeing that dinosaur costume before.
You have not. I don't believe that's been in the game previously. The big, kind of the meme dinosaur suit that people can buy on Amazon for like $70, and tend to wear at house parties. Yeah, that is new. But the
okay, good.
I thought you were talking. I don't
recall ever. No, I just don't recall saying. I mean, maybe they've thrown a lot of crazy things. I remember the Super Soaker. I mean, I remember most of the other things, but I just don't remember that. So that is something new, and it's going from June 30th to July 14th. So you still got a week, about a week and a day to get in there and get some of these. They do have enhanced harvest rates if you're playing on official servers. The taffy. Okay, so here we go. They have two new emotes. So they got a hula dance emote, a flip in place emote. Then they have that, what we said, the inflatable T-Rex costume is new. That Hawaiian shirt. So there's 3 Hawaiian shirt patterns, 3 swimsuit patterns, the glasses, the retro glasses, the floppy straw hat, and the angler hat skin. Those are all the new items. And then they'll have all the previous items. And they have some new pets as well.
Yes, sir. You'll have to hang out for me a second here. I've got to make a social media post for work. So is there
No,
something
no
that you
worries.
would like to jump in here with?
Yeah, so let's go ahead and let's jump to Titanfall. So Titanfall is having a kind of an interesting thing going on because there's been hacks happening in that, and people are kind of getting sick of the hacks that have been breaking the matchmaking and all kinds of issues. So what these hackers have done is to counter this is they now have hacked Apex Legends, and they've hacked Apex Legends saying save Titanfall, and so they're saying they're going to.
I'm sorry, they hacked Apex Legends and put that where?
They put up the message with a domain name and all this saying
That said
to save Titanfall. Titanfall.com. Yeah.
That's freaking hilarious.
So they have that website that's showing up in the game now, or showed up in the game, just trying to get the attention of the developers to put some focus on to fix the issues of Titanfall. So this is a good idea. I mean, go after their biggest game, put a message in there and say, hey, fix this other game that we like playing. And I'm sure, you don't want to reward people that are doing something illegal or, things like that. But I'm sure that this is going to get a little bit of a reaction as long as these guys kind of stay cool with it. Don't try to push it and go overboard and start destroying things or costing them a lot of money.
Yeah, don't steal $10 billion from them.
Yeah, exactly. And what Respawn has said is now after this, help is coming. So Respawn didn't freak out, didn't take it. This is kind of not a friendly thing, but at least they did it. They made a point, and they didn't push it any farther from what we can see. And hopefully this will lead to them putting a little bit of resources into these Titanfall issues and getting it to where people can play again. Because there's still a lot of these old games. There is a big community still doing things. We've talked with some of our listeners, play EverQuest and other games, but there's still a lot of people who play things like the online versions of Titanfall. And I played it. It's, a fun game. It's, you're in mechs going around and having a big match.
I'm going to be honest. When it first came out, it was 2013, 14, 12, somewhere in that time frame when Titanfall 1 came out. It was a cool concept.
Yeah.
I never found the game to be all that, I don't know. I never found the game to be all that great. It was kind of in a weird...
I found the single player intro. Like I went through the story.
Yeah, never
and I figured, okay, yeah, I went through the whole story. That was the most interesting part. Then I got to the end. I was like, okay, I want to try it. Let's try the multiplayer. I played the multiplayer a little bit, not enough to hold me and keep me playing it, just because it was just kind of not a lot of organization to it. You're just kind of running around and killing each other, and there's not really that many. The objective isn't clear. But there's people, once they get into it, like that's what they like to play. So there are people still playing it. It's not my thing.
Titanfall was one of the first PC games I think I played, because I think that was right around the time that I got into, got my first gaming PC and started playing. I remember playing Titanfall, and the multiplayer was fun. Just, I don't know. There wasn't a game like Call of Duty will constantly bring you back, at least in my experience. Titanfall didn't have that experience for me. Fortnite's got that. Apex Legends has got that. PUBG has got that kind of want more. Titanfall, and this is Titanfall 1. I'm not talking about Titanfall 2. Titanfall 1 never had that. Never played Titanfall 2. Full disclaimer.
Yep. I played the whole story of Titanfall 2, and that's the main one I played.
Gotcha.
And, it was entertaining. Like they did a good job of kind of taking you through the story and taking through the levels. It's good for a playthrough, but it's not a game to go and replay. It's not like, it's just an interesting one-time story. So, are you ready to mind if we talk about New World a little bit here?
No, what you got for me?
All right, so they've been dumping a lot of information, released some videos here, and one thing people have been talking about, what's going to be in New World. They've been talking about some of the player housing, and so they've released 2 videos. I don't know. Do you want to play them both? They're episode 1 and 2. I mean, the main thing is they're kind of showing off some of the graphics. That's what I'm really interested in. The first one's 5 minutes, so I don't know that we want to play like the whole.
Well, then do we just want to show the second one? That's only a minute long.
Yeah, let's do the second one, and then maybe we can like just show some screenshots or kind of jump through the video of the second one to see some of the scenes. But I think a lot of the second one has a lot of similar scenes in it, so we should be fine.
And before we do that, I want to thank our friend Tag Durante hitting us up with the 17-month resubscription here on Twitch. And I have it on decent authority, Brian, that our friend Tag might be visiting us out in the great desert coming up.
Great!
Coming up in a couple of months. So looking forward to
That'll
that,
be fun.
Tag. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Let's take a quick look at this video from New Worlds, and we'll discuss right after this.
Last time on Settling Down, we joined newlyweds James and Elena Whitler as they looked for their forever home in Aeternum. We showed them 3 fabulous houses.
Don't you love when
in
they do
Everfall,
something witty like
Reaper
this?
Finn, and Reekwater.
Aren't you glad you didn't watch the
And
5-minute
then left it
one?
up to our viewers to decide where the happy
least they're giving us a
couple
recap.
would lay down their roots. And you chose Everfall.
Oh, God. I feel like I'm sitting in a car dealership waiting for my
Honestly,
inspection to be done.
I'm so glad we're living here. We may have to argue with the Covenant members who control the region right now, but we're preparing to overthrow them very soon.
The air is so clean and fresh here, and
Oh.
we've really been able to
that's
make
what it
the
is.
place our own. We picked
So
up a few
charming.
pieces of furniture from the trading post, but the bed was all me.
And with all the ancient ruins nearby, there's so much to see and smite. Never mind the shattered obelisk down the hill. There are spots crawling with ancients and the lost all over Everfall. My hands are always full fighting enemies. Thank you, Settling Down fans, for helping us choose our dream home.
And thank you for my 2 fireplaces.
What the fuck did I just watch? An
And so they did
an
kind of-
HGTV style.
But yeah, it was a they wanted to show off the player housing with kind of an HGTV style home, shop, like where you go and purchase home.
I'm being dramatic, but this is actually a really funny idea. This is cool. I
Yeah.
could not have watched the 5-minute video, though. And literally, the
No,
last time I watched a show like this was when I was waiting for my car inspection, sitting
know.
in the dealership, just like.
But for those
Oh,
people that
hey,
are sitting there
I collect-
hanging on every word.
I collect ants for a living, and my wife picks flowers. Our budget is $3.5 million, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I bust my ass and can barely afford the house I live in. This show's great. I'm gonna kill myself. We'll be back. Hopefully, my car Hopefully, they tell me my car needs $10,000 worth of work, so I can just drive it off of a freaking bridge. That's kind of how it's going."
Yeah. So
Tag Durante
This is
posts in Twitch and says, "I'm planning to be there. Are you guys blackjack players?" Sure.
don't talk to Nick about gambling. He'll do it. He's yes. How about you just say yes?
I like blackjack.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yes. I know you play. You'll do anything that you risk money in.
All right. Well, enough of the personal.
I mean, I
attacks.
just know you. I mean, like you,
All right,
you,
all right,
you like
all
to
right.
gamble a little bit.
Well, I mean, a lot bit.
Nothing
but
wrong
yeah,
with
a
that.
bit,
We'll be in
yeah.
a place where it's totally legal, so it's okay.
Yeah, I'm
Do whatever you want.
gonna take just enough cash with me, leave my debit card
to make sure you can still pay your mortgage when you get home. That's
to
the way
leave my
do it.
debit card swiftly locked in the safe in the hotel room, and we'll be good to go. No problems. I promise you. No problems.
We got this.
Yes, we do. So that, I mean, it looked cool. I mean, so just let's scrub through the second video and just kind of
Yeah, because I just really wanted to get some close-ups to see. They did briefly show some of the other houses, but it was a good way for them to really get up close and show some of these different housing units people can purchase.
Yeah, so I mean, you can see the different cosmetics of it. I can't tell if the fireplace
So
actually
that's what it looks like
generates
when you first
smoke.
when you first get them. Yep.
Yeah. It looks like that's
That's
actually
the bare
generating
house. When you
smoke.
first purchase it, no furniture, and then you can decorate it, however you want. I'm sure that they have things in-game, things you can purchase. I'm sure they'll be doing some sort of microtransactions eventually, where you can purchase decorations. But this is a good way for them to, if they want to maintain money, things like this, where it doesn't really affect the gameplay, let people decorate their houses for real money, for special things.
Yeah, that's a great way to raise some funds.
Because it doesn't affect the player experience as far
Correct.
as play PvP, any of those things. Like, give them all that stuff so that when they're not doing the other things, like they feel like they have their own. We'll see.
All right.
This is like the cheap. This is the cheap one. It looks like. So yeah, so they have one. I guess probably. I'm assuming these will be much cheaper. For one that looks rough like this.
Okay.
I don't know.
I just
All right, so
I'm still a little taken aback as to what I just watched, so I'm sorry.
all right, so another thing they're doing is so they have this kind of a tour of some of the other zones. One thing they show is like Shattered Mountain is one of the zones. So let's go ahead and let's play that really quickly, because that's one thing I also want to see is the landscapes. I want to see what does the world look like. What are some of the special points of interest look like, and they're going to show some of these things in here.
At the furthest known reaches of Eternum lies Shattered Mountain, the ultimate summit for any adventurer to tackle. Eternum's dark crown is a vast, splintered mountain range, awash with corruption.
I do like the more like
Heading north
modern
from the
look.
Great Cleave,
That's not like
travelers
wow,
can choose
you know,
to
it looks
venture
more
through the
modern.
grey wastes
Yeah,
of
definitely.
the carved lands
It's
to
there's
reach
lots
the
of
meager
the level of
settlement
detail seems to be
Mountain
relatively
Home.
high.
Yes.
I presume this is
And
rendered in
almost
engine,
certain
right?
death in the
It looks
corrupted
like it, yeah.
fortress of Caminus. The Red Fortress is filled with cruel and merciless blood-forged enemies who would rip you in half on sight. These enemies are infused with powerful magic, and only the most seasoned of fighters will be able to best them. For those who enter the Shattered Lands from the eastern region of Eden Grove, the first settlement you will come across will be Mountain Rise Outpost. This bare-bones rest stop will provide you a valuable respite from the elements and a chance to brew some much-needed corruption tinctures before heading north into the craggy labyrinth of Shattered Mountain. Northwest of Mountain Rise lies the Blighted Wilds. Look out for a body of water near the hidden strain to meet Master Fisherman Bernard, but try not to get eaten by wilted wolves along the way. Continue north, and you will reach Rotfellow
Yeah, even out in the world, like that's a
cursed
good level of
cave
detail. I mean, that's a lot of detail
home to
right
some
there,
of the
especially.
foulest beasts in Eternum.
Yeah, with all the little
Keep your
particles and
wits about
everything.
you.
That's hard to do.
Yeah, and plants. I mean, that's
See a thing.
that shows that the engine is actually doing a pretty good job of rendering.
To
If
the
it's
northwest of Mountain Home,
keeping up with all
you
that.
will find the Scorched Mines. Fight your way through Ambusti Inferia to explore the mines and find the terrible secrets buried in their depths. Just make sure you have an exit route in mind. Navigating the twisted pathways of this wretched place is easier said than done. Keep heading northwest and you'll see a burning pyre, signifying the desolate cliffs and the mortal mire that lies beyond. The corruption has taken much of the wildlife in the area, resulting in some ruthless beasts that would strike fear in the heart of the world's most seasoned hunter. Continue north, and you will encounter the Fallen Frontier. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. This vast wasteland is riddled with corruption. This is a great place to hone your battle skills, but don't expect much rest. The corruption here runs long and deep, and you will be hard-pressed to find a suitable camping spot among the carnage. When you are ready for your greatest challenge in Eternum, head to the Merkgard, the crown fortress of Eternum, now a hellscape of fearsome beasts and murderous corrupted humans. Equip yourself with the best gear you can find and recruit some allies before entering this terrifying frontier. The challenge will be immense, but the reward will mark you as one of the finest adventurers Eternum has ever known. If you've traveled this far, then you're surely ready to face whatever trials and tribulations lie ahead. Now, go forth and make your mark on Eternum.
All right.
I think that's some of the most content that they've shown. You know, I mean, they're
Yeah.
these right here showing vast landscapes. You know, very detailed landscapes of like that last one is probably one of their high level points of interest. And then, you know, they showed some of the places you'll be going through while you're leveling up to get to there. So I don't know. I'm kind of still, I mean, it gives me hope. It looks like it's going to be a cool game. I just hope it's not one. I have a feeling it's not going to be one where they make it grind like crazy, but maybe it will. You know, I just don't have time for a WoW grind, but we'll see. Hopefully it's something that's worth checking out.
Absolutely. You can check out New Worlds. All right. Brian, we got time for one more. I covered a lot.
All right.
What's left?
let's okay, let's go ahead and talk really quickly about PUBG. Let's talk PUBG because there's two things I wanted to talk about. But first, PUBG on their mobile just banned millions of players, and I don't know. It kicked 3.8, pretty much 3.8 million accounts banned on PUBG Mobile.
How many players do they have?
I think they have a decent amount.
And they have to have especially what, 10, 15 million? If you're going to kick out almost 4 million players, you're not going to kick out half your player base, right?
No, you wouldn't think so.
Wow.
And this is in a single week. They kick that many in a single week. So, and they did that in the time that most, as there's one article I read about this, and they said most games in their lifetime don't ban this many people. They did that in a week.
That's crazy.
So in their post, they put the ban is back from June 18th through the 24th. We permanently banned 3,884,690 accounts for things like modification of character model, other hacks, speed hacks, X-ray vision, etc.
Here's a little breakdown of it. This is the level of the people that were the levels that these people were in.
Mm-hmm.
So you had 27 that were crown, 14 ace, 10 bronze, 1 conqueror, 25% in the diamond rank, 6 in the gold, 4 in the silver, and 13 in the platinum. That 25% in diamond, obviously, probably the largest.
That's a huge amount.
It's a huge amount of a relatively high rank. I don't know exactly how the ranking system works, but I presume diamond is higher than crown. I could be wrong on that. But nevertheless,
I guess that shows you a little bit of how susceptible it was to hacking. That's a huge amount.
And a majority of it was modification of character model. I presume that maybe makes your model significantly smaller or visible, something like that.
Or possibly invisible. Makes you couldn't see. It is. You would think there probably were some people who maybe made themselves look a little bit different. Not thinking it wasn't going to be anything crazy, but the problem is, with that same idea and technology, you can turn around and make yourself invisible. You can turn around and make yourself, so small that people can't really see you running around, or make you so thin that people don't notice you. It's a big issue, So that makes sense that they would go after that pretty hard.
Yeah, 5% speed hacks, 4% modification of damage area. That's what I was thinking of, making yourself smaller target. 8% other, 2% auto aim, 5% X-ray vision. So majority of it was probably some sort of, as you mentioned, invisible thing to make you not appear. Now, I can't imagine the 76% of people they banned were just making their characters look different. There had to have been something more significant to it than that.
But the problem would be if someone released something like that out on the internet, a ton of people would download it thinking that it's pretty cool.
And I assume so. All of these people hacking were likely doing it on emulators too, on some sort of Android emulator.
Probably,
right?
Probably some sort of mobile emulator type of thing.
Yeah.
And they didn't give a lot of details about that, but
I guess on Android you can also
see if this continues.
You could sideload APKs, so you could have sideloaded a version of the game that allowed some of that.
An edited version
of the game. That likely could have been it as well. Interesting. Very interesting.
And then there's a really quick video. I don't know if you want it. Sorry, I just put it in there, but it's fine. Related to their new Taigo map. It's really short, but it's their new Taigo map update. And let's play that really quickly. It's just pretty much going to show off something, and then we'll talk about what's going to be new.
July 7th for PCs. Consoles coming out the 15th, so tomorrow for PC users. What are the details? Okay,
so let's go. Can we go through that frame by frame, and then we'll discuss what they're showing, because they're showing off things and not telling you what they are. Okay, they're really quickly flipping through. Okay, so one of these things, they show a character doing what looks like a self pickup.
Yeah,
so like a self heal, self revive. Type of thing. So go ahead and play that. That would be a new feature. So this is something. Also, you see how that is expanding from the inside out. They're coming up with a kind of a reverse, what looks like a reverse version of what we know for PUBG having, of the circle continuing to shrink. It looks like they're going to have one where it expands. The blue energy expands from the middle.
didn't they talk about this a while back? This is going to be like, there's going to be little pockets where these zones are going to expand, and it's going to, instead of a big circle coming in, you'll have all these little zones that are expanding out, and it'll create little crevices and whatnot. Is that what this is?
I mean, they've just shown this, so it could be incorporating some of those things that they've discussed frequently. I remember they do those player tests. Remember those PUBG?
The game modes. Because I remember a picture of a mini map, and it had all of these little circles on it that were growing. I feel like that's might be what this is.
Yeah, and it could very well could be. Also, so they'll have what they call Gulag Island, something like a Gulag Island with revivals. Also, this map is an 8x8 map. So it's the first full-size PUBG map that they've had since Miramar, because they've been doing these smaller maps. They're now doing, this is a full-size map that they're going to have in here. It should be here tomorrow. So, so tomorrow this should be released. It'll be interesting once they release it. I'm sure next week we'll probably talk about a few things that maybe we're right on or wrong on, and maybe I'm sure they'll have other things that they didn't show off in the video. So a new map, or an updated map, a new concept of how the map, you move from the map, and also self-revive. Yeah,
this, we'll get some,
there's other guns and things. They showed guns in there, but I'm not really going to go through those.
I have to read this YouTube comment from this YouTuber. He says, "Thank you for the 7-second video. It was really, really good. PUBG, thanks. Awesome work, bro." So I find that to be that's quite funny. But yes, they'll release their full patch note and everything tomorrow with it on PC. So we'll bring you the details.
And the concept art shows that there might be like a city in there. So I mean, it could be a pretty cool map, and I'm sure they've been working on it for a while.
Excellent. Well, stay tuned for that if you're a PC player tomorrow. If not, you'll have to wait till next Thursday, the 15th, if you're a console dweller, to get access to that.
Can we play one more trailer?
What you got?
All right, so let's do the Psychonauts 2 action trailer, because this is coming out August 25th. For people that haven't played the original Psychonauts, it's kind of a classic, but this is the Psychonauts 2 that they're releasing.
All right.
Approaching the mother lode. I can't believe I'm really here. Psychonauts headquarters. Look at all these gadgets.
The mind is the final frontier of humanity.
I'm ready for anything.
Justice!
I kind of like that art style. It's unique.
Very Rick and Morty-ish.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I'm getting.
And like everything's kind of exaggerated. I like that art style.
The mission is falling apart. A Psychonaut must always remember how to roll with it.
This is a mission about the fate of the world. Can you do that?
Yes, if I can find some bacon.
I'm going to ignore that last part.
And did you notice at the bottom of the very last frame what it said?
Series X. Game Pass?
But it's also only coming on Xbox and PC, which mostly means Game Pass.
It does say
what I'm gathering.
It does say Game Pass.
Okay, so it is only Game. Is it just Game Pass? Are they only?
No, it doesn't say no, it doesn't say only Game Pass, but it does say Game Pass.
Okay, so they're doing Game Pass, but they're also it's only Xbox.
Was Psychonauts 1
Windows 10 PC? I wonder if that's the PC version on Game Pass.
Was Psychonauts 1 on PlayStation?
No, I don't know. I'd have to look at that. Let's see.
Yes, it was. Microsoft Windows, Xbox,
I played on
PlayStation,
PC.
PlayStation 2 came out in 2005. So it was on the PS.
Yep. Yeah, so this one they must have gotten some sort of an agreement with Microsoft. But I don't have you never played the original? Have you ever really seen it?
No, actually, no. And I'm surprised because 2005, I would have been in my heyday of PlayStation 2.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a list of, maybe I'll go and, I like to go to various flea markets and yard sales looking for older video games. So I will add Psychonauts,
keep an eye out for Psychonauts
to my playlist.
Yep.
So yeah,
but yeah.
cool.
I just wanted to show that because it's a really unique. It's Double Fine Productions, which is not, it's a decent studio. They put out some interesting. They put out some kind of cheaper stuff here and there, but they've got some pretty good titles. This is one of their bigger titles, and it's one that you look at. The graphics were great. I mean, they're different, but some of the art style, like when he was swinging that mallet. Just the way that they did the 3D and everything, I think they did a really good job of making it look unique.
Well, these are the Costume Quest people. That's a fun game.
Yeah, they did Costume Quest. If we listed off some of the Double Fine production games, you would recognize a number of them.
Yeah, looking through those right now. Rad, which we talked about, I think. Double Fine, yeah. So it's like, okay. Yeah, okay, cool.
I mean, Broken Age was one that I kickstarted. It was a Kickstarter game, but Grim Fandango, Day of the Tentacle, a lot of these are ones that were from my youth. Full Throttle. There's just a lot of old games that they, I hope they keep putting out like a version 2 because there was so many fans of the original ones. They were really entertaining. They had a lot of awesome content in them, and I think that this is a good way for them to move forward. Just release some of these version 2s enhanced.
This was Tim Schafer, who was at LucasArts, who was instrumental in some of those Star Wars games and whatnot.
And he's very much in this project because I remember we played a video a while ago, I think, of him showing him working on some of this game. Yeah. I think it was this one, but yeah, he's very involved with this.
Cool. All right. Excellent. Well, that's out.
Okay, that's it. I just wanted to show that. I thought it was pretty cool.
What was the date?
August 25th.
Cool.
Yep.
All right.
Is that it? We're ready to roll out of here?
We're ready to rock and roll.
All right. If you want to find me at Brian Aldridge on Gab and Parler. Also my blog, biteoftech.com. And make sure you go to infectionpodcast.com. Check out the right-hand side. Join our server on Discord. And if you have a topic, you think we're missing something we should be discussing, post it in the news channel. If you do that, it's a great way for us to go and review that and get your topics introduced to the show. Also, if you want to watch the show on video, you can do that through BitChute, DLive, YouTube, and Twitch. And then if you want to watch some of the pre and post show, get an idea of what we do. If you can't ever catch us live, we have our Infection Podcast extras on there as well. If you want to listen to us, you can do that through the lower right. We've got lots of ways to listen. There's every kind of desktop app, mobile app, lots of things, Spotify, Google. I mean, there's everything on there. Click whichever platform you want to use and then listen and follow along. You can jump to the particular episode. For this one, it's going to be 338. And there's lots of links and there's a video player, audio player, all kinds of ways to follow along with the show. If you're listening, we've got all the video links, so you can kind of click those and watch them while we're playing them. It's pretty cool. So if you want to support us, you can go to infectionpodcast.com/support. We have our Subscribe Star, we got our Humble Bundle, Amazon, we have people that are doing Prime Gaming subs. So there's plenty of ways to support us. And hopefully, as Nick said, we're going to be going to Vegas and having kind of a meetup type of thing. If you're interested in doing that, just hit us up. We can get you the details. And I'm really looking forward to that because that's one of the highlights of my year is going out and hanging out with Nick and everyone else and going out and just having fun. Yeah, it is. Seriously, it's one of the highlights of what I like to do.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a lot of fun. So
it was sad not being able to do it last year.
Brian and I and the group, now that we've got our dates, we'll convene this week, figure it all out, and we'll have the official details in the next week or two so people can get their stuff booked. But as of right now, we're looking at the 16th through the 19th of September, getting in Thursday morning, early afternoon, and then leaving Sunday morning to head back. Good. So just a couple of days off of work. All right, Brian, as always, appreciate it, my friend, and we will see you here next Tuesday.
Very good. I will see you then.
All righty, folks. Well, if you want to check out some of my political antics, you can do so at nickcraig.com. You can listen to me for 3 hours each and every weekday morning on 980 The Wave in Wilmington, North Carolina. If you're on various social media platforms, visit nickcraig.net. You can find the social media links all on there. And again, our website is infectionpodcast.com. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.